Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's GentooMan here, also known as Rainy, and today's story time is kind of a funny one. I just remembered it because me and my friends were talking about it, so I'm gonna hop right into it. This story time takes place back when I was 14 years old, so a couple years ago, and I was in school, and for some reason my teachers couldn't really figure out what to do with us except for taking us to the computer lab to do work on computers. And I don't know if any of you guys had computer labs like this, but in our computer lab, there was like one section of like 4 computers that was like not very visible by the teacher. So if you're on that computer or any of those computers, you kind of do whatever you want, like play games, do whatever. Like you're pretty hidden. There's this one kid in my class at the time. We'll call him Carson is the name we'll give him. And he was known to be kind of a troublemaker. Like he was the type of guy who would just kind of do things because he thinks they were funny, but he'd like, I don't know, hurt himself or get himself in trouble. Like one time in our cooking class, our foods class, he decided to snort cayenne pepper because he thought it'd be funny. I mean, it was kind of funny. I'll give him that, but he hurt himself doing that. So basically, he was the troublemaker kind of kid. You know what I'm talking about. So one day, my teacher marched us all down to the computer lab so we could do something, I don't know, I think it was for English class, but we were all just down there in the computer lab, and Carson and his friends had decided to sit in this section where nobody could see them. Now, I was kind of a shithead at the time, and my school had like a no phones policy, and you couldn't be like using your phone. You weren't even supposed to have it on you. Like you could bring it to school, but had to like stay in your locker, so if you needed it for an emergency, you could go get it, but you weren't supposed to have it with you. Like you weren't allowed to have it on you, but I did have it on me. I just never used it because I didn't want to get in trouble for it. But I also had my PSP on me that my brother gave me, which like I said, was a shithead at the time, and every time I'd whip it out, my teachers would be like, you can't have a phone in school. I'd be like, it's not a phone, like it's a video game console. Like I was that kid, and I like argued with them about it, but they couldn't take it from me because it wasn't a phone. So, yeah, I was a shithead at the time is my point, but that's not really what the story is about. But the website that our teacher wanted us to access for whatever assignment we were doing, for some reason, was blocked under, like, because you know how school Wi-Fi's, they block a lot of websites just so that you can't get to them because it's, like, not appropriate for school. Like, they block a lot of game websites and stuff. So she had to turn that off on the computers because it was blocking the website she wanted us to go to for some reason. Unfortunately, that meant that these school computers had free range of the entire internet. So logically, the first thing that Carson does is, take a little trip to a certain black and orange website. And yeah, he did that. He and his friends start like laughing, and then like other people get word of it and they start laughing. And sooner or later, everyone's kind of like quietly laughing to themselves. I mean, like, it's kind of funny, but it's also like weird. Like that's the first thing that he came up with. But that's when things kind of took a turn for the worse for Carson. He was doing all this while the teacher was out of the room, and he was expecting her to, I guess, come back through the main door. But there's also a back door to the room that comes from a different side of the school. And just so happens that back door leads directly to where these sort of hidden screen computers are. So unfortunately for Carson, our teacher walked through those doors and saw what he was looking at and got just the angriest expression on her face of all time. Like sped walked over to him, unplugged his monitor, and just like turned off his computer and said, like yelled at him, like, principal's office now. And she like dragged him like by the shirt, and she was out of there. And we were all like, kind of stunned for a second. And the story does not actually end there. Like that was obviously it for Carson for the day. Like he got suspended. He got his punishment. We did not see much of him after that. But he wasn't going to take that lying down, I guess. So he decided to get his revenge. So what Carson ended up doing is, it was a couple days later, and my teacher had left the room and had left her computer unlocked. And one of Carson's friends had gone over and opened up her computer because it was open, and gone into her email because, we as students, we had our teacher's email so we could like send in assignments or whatever. And the computer was hooked up to the smart board, like the projector at the front of the class. And he opened up this email, and he opened up an email from Carson. And there was a video file on it. And Carson at the time was dating this girl in our class we would call Emily. And Carson's friend opened this video, and it was just a video of Carson and this Emily girl having sex in the school stairwell. Like his ultimate revenge was sending this teacher his own porn, I guess, which is interesting. That's a choice. That's definitely a choice in revenge. And of course, the teacher walked in as this video was playing. She was super mad about it, as she would be. She escorted Carson's friend down to the principal's office, as well as Emily. And from what I heard, Carson got his suspension extended, and Carson's friend got suspended as well. And Emily didn't get suspended. She got her parents called in, and her parents apparently had, they had quite a talk with Carson and Carson's parents, and it was just not a pretty situation. And yeah, I don't know why that was his choice in revenge, but that's what he went with. Yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up the story time. Moral of the story is don't visit that black and orange website in school. Not a good idea. Do that in private if you got to do it. And even better, the second moral of the story is doing what Carson did is not a good way to get revenge on people for that. That is stupid. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up the story time. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you're new. You guys know the drill, and I will catch you all in the next one. I love you so much. Later.